Had to shave a few of the planks as I was putting the plank on, but that's no big deal. At least I didn't have to add anything to it this time, which I have had to do in the past. And getting down to the stern part here, all of these planks, they're all upswept. And so shout out to Sean when he gave his presentation a couple of years ago or something, finally figured out how to do edge bending, which I hadn't figured out before. So I went home and I built a jig for edge bending. I was able to bend every one of these planks coming up. I don't know what you're seeing there, but I was able to bend Flying Cloud. Name is Gold Rush Flipper Ship. So I was able to get those bent up really good. That worked nice. And so I spent some time shaping and sanding and getting it all smooth so I'd have a smooth base for the second planking. Only had a few low spots I had to put some filler in, so worked out pretty good. Thank you.
What's that scale? 1/8?
196. So the second planking is all walnut. I'll get into that. So I can start on second planking now. So usually when I put the second planking on, put the plank on with white glue and I pushed in some nails for the nail heads to hold it in place, all the glue sets. So this time here, I said, okay, I want to try using CA on this, see how that works. So typically when I bend, I like using the bending tool, soldering iron, big head, put a little water on it, and bend it around to get my bends that way. For using CA, I probably don't want water on there, get it wet. So I went back again to try using the crimping tool for doing bending, which I bought one a few years ago. I tried using this thing. I kept breaking planks or squeezing too hard.
Yeah, you're making everything weak.
Yeah, well, yes, that's all. Anyway, I pulled it out again. I said, let me see how I can get that to work. Finally figured it out to let the tool do the work. I was crimping the stuff around and every part, all of this, you can see here, all of these bends, I just crimped them around. First time was a charm. Didn't have to break any off or come back and try again. And they all laid down good. And using that CA glue, just lay it down, hold it a few seconds or something, and it's done. And you move on to the next one. So once I got into the straight loads here, just one after the other, it's pretty fast and easy doing that. I got that done. So the first plank is like a 1x5, something goes around the top, except for up at the bow. There's a few little 1x3s there. And then it goes with a 2x2, and the gaps in the 2x2, I hope you can see.
Since you're wanting to spotlight something, a note for everyone that's presenting: if you want to highlight something, you can use this. Just ask one of us to switch the camera.
Anyway, these gaps in here, the 2x2, that's where the channels are going to go. And then next plank below that, there was a few of 1x3s. What?
I tried switching the camera when you had it down low like that, and it was at the exact same moment you picked it up. So then we were just looking.
What am I supposed to do here?
No.
Hold it like that.
Yeah. Yes.
So then there's a few 1x3 planks that go in there. They went in pretty good.
I'll help out.
And then there's another 2x2. But I used up all the 2x2 on the first 2x2 layer, and there was no more for that. So fortunately, I had a few pieces in my wood pile, and I was able to make that up. Then these pieces sticking out, these are 2x3s, and this is where the bottom of the chain plate is going to wrap around. So that goes in line with the channels here. So after those, then I got another 2x2. Then there's supposed to be 1.5x3s. So for each one of these straights of 1.5x3, there's 3 of those. It takes like 1.5 pieces of stock. They gave me 2 pieces. That's not a common size to come across. So I went to look, Model Expo has some 2x3s. I forgot to get those and just I can take a 0.5 millimeter off, no problem. So I ordered those, and I was working on something else in the meantime. That comes in, and it's not walnut, and it's not 2x3. So I started checking with some of my friends. So Lee has a really nice collection of walnut strips. So I went over his house and got some 2x3s, and I had enough. I had a 1.5x3 of my own that I was able to get the first one. So the idea is to have that, like these 2x2s are like a whale, and to have that fit underneath it by a thumbnail, which the hole's not that perfect. In some places it's under it, in some places it matches up with it. And I didn't think to shave the hole down a little bit to put it in. So anyway, that takes care of that one. I got 3 of those done finally. Now the rest of these, there's 12 pieces coming up that are going to be a 1/2x3. They'll come down 12 down here. And the rest of them are going to be a 1/2x5. And once I get to that belt, I'm going to redo my planking plan because
You're
these,
gonna copper it?
yeah, getting to that. I'm thinking about
Well, I'm
that.
saying it doesn't matter what the bottom looks like anyway.
Yeah. But I have to still have the same number of planks going all the way to the end. I'll see it when I put it together.
When you copper it, you cover it all up.
When was these that are 3 millimeters now, the ending with on my first planking was 4 millimeters on one end and 3 on the other. So they're flat strips. I can just run those all the way down. Once I get down to the 5s, they're bigger than what I have here. And I'm going to go ahead and make a flank plan and put those on. Coppering, getting ahead of myself, that this was supposed to have green plates that you put down all the way. And then you paint them copper. And then you rub some of the copper off so you get that ambergris kind of flush. And I did that when I built Mamoli's America. It really came out nice. I was looking forward to that on here. Came with a roll of copper tape. And so I talked to Sean about the jig he had made for putting lines on it. And somebody, Ship World had this tool that you would run down and it's a wheel that goes down there. So I went ahead and got that. And it worked okay. I mean, but you have to make a jig to keep it in line, to keep a track on there. So I started working on that. And I was pulling this tape apart. That stuff is so thin. And you try and peel it off and it tears. And I couldn't. I've got, 1,400 something pieces of copper put on here, and to deal with that tape as a screw, it ain't using tape. So I bought, been looking online at different kinds of copper, and I bought a sample pack from Cornwall, and I got one coming in from Model Expo. That looks like the best too, as far as where the rivets are and everything. But I'm still a long ways away from that. That's where I am now.
If you get stuck on needing odd plank sizes, I can go any size you want.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I just built a thickness sander. Jimmy's been after me for years to build a thickness sander. So out of the stuff I got from the auctions here, I did put one together. It sort of works okay. And I was going to do that with these. So I started putting them on there, and they fit up underneath pretty good. And it just took light sanding to put that down. But one other tool I mentioned, one of these auctions here in a box, I got this little cutter, like you have a paper cutter. This has a center kind of piece with a razor blade in it. These 1 millimeter and 1/2 millimeter strips. I mean, the chop saw is too much for those, but this little cutter thing snaps them right off the top of the thing. Yeah, love that tool. Yeah. So,
I have
You use gap filling CA or is it like and stuff?
no, I use the gap filling.
It seemed to set up on.
Yeah. Well, I think it's supposed to be 20-second or something. The one that I've got is the gap filling, and I think 15 or 20 seconds, so I can hold it. And sometimes it pops up, and other times I can hold it
I
down.
think Blue Jacket sells these copper plates in your scale. And they're really not bad. The nails are too big, but it looks good.
Well, I looked on, I think it was Blue Jacket, but they had like sets. We had to buy like 3,000,
Yeah,
because
but they look quite good.
But I I like the other ones better. So I looked at
No,
those in a way that had the rivets
Good
on them,
choice.
and they weigh the top together.
Good choice.
That's all. Okay, great.
Tom, anything? Henry? Ryland, did you want to, is that yours? Did you want to go?
Yes, I can go and,
This show.
Oh, move over there. Are you doing show and tell or? Is this
oh, show and tell.
presentation? Okay.
I mean, this is part of my presentation, but I guess it's show and tell also. You want to switch or
What do you want to do?
the cameras needs to be switched.
Yeah, I can switch the camera.
Yeah, switch the camera.
Or we can move this over here so that you don't have to hand hold it. I was trying to get it set up so hand holding wasn't necessary. That's why that one was
Okay.
on the other table, angled down.
Yeah, well, it's so small that, okay.
Switch the camera if you want. Just let me know.
Yeah, just go and switch the camera. I'll do the.
All right.
Okay, this is my little battle station that I was been working on. And it was a kit designed by Chuck Pissarro. We did this with the Ship Model Society of New Jersey, had a group build. And this was our project for last year. And it's part of it's in 1/32 scale. It's made of yellow cedar. And it is a portion of the speed well that Chuck has designed. And I think we have one person, I think Warren maybe has that kit, but it, went together pretty good. It was about 12 of us, I believe, that built this. And I mean, the plans is basically, it's just a little section out of the kit. And all I can say is, thank goodness I built this, because I know there's no way in the world I could do the kit, because it would have taken me many, many years to do that. But we also learned to paint figures, and that is a little more detail of.
Ryland, is this a particular vessel or just?
The speedwell. It's Battle Station Speedwell. And the main thing that we did, we learned, the rigging of the cannon, the assembly of the cannon, which y'all saw that in another presentation. And then also it involved the painting of the figures. Maybe I can pull it up. It turned out really well. I was real pleased with it. It's all hand painted. It, it's a kit that supposedly will not be made for the public. It will only be, it was only given to the members of the Ship Model Society of New Jersey for a group build. And he also did, I think it was 10 kits that were raffled off at the Northeast Joint Clubs Conference last year. And I went to the Northeast Joint Clubs Conference this past April up in New London, Connecticut. And there were 3 of these on display. That was counting mine also. But it kind of made it nice because I flew up there and it packed well into the luggage. But that's it. And then on the bottom, I mean, there's been some people that have asked, would he please produce this kit? And, he may do it and he may not. I don't know. But that was my project. Okay.
That's good.
Thank you.
Far back table, any models or things to show and tell?
Comment, I want to know, just a guest, I will be a member. The frequent guest, I just picked up, my first kit model to get going, the Lowell Banks Grand Dory. I think common beginner. I'd be happy for any tips as I get started. I just got it in the mail.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's scratch built that one. So, and Kalen would be a good resource. He just opened it too.
Okay,
Alrighty. I see some beautiful models at this table, but I don't know if they would say hi.
Hi. They're both mine. One at a time. Okay, I'm doing the multimedia. There's no wood killed to make these models. I know.
Some trash bags though.
Okay, so the first ship first model I'll show is we used to have a member, and I can't think of his name, who used to do paper models a lot, other than Dave Baker. So this you probably see in the toy stores 3D models of here we go.
Yeah.
No, I'll just do it this way. 3D models, like the Eiffel Tower or stuff like that, and they're foam backed. Well, my sister-in-law loves to travel through Asia, and she picked this model up for me of a South Korean DDH, and so it took me about 45 minutes to an hour. I just really enjoyed putting it together, and a little bit different. So the interesting thing about this in the company, you can't buy this stuff in the United States. I looked, but anyway, the ship, this actually is the lead ship of the class. It's called the Gwanggaito the Great. And it's called a DDH is typically a destroyer helicopter. Now, typically most air-capable destroyers don't use the H configuration. The Canadians that I'm aware of used it because they put multiple helicopters on it. The U.S. Navy really was going to do it once, but they never really adopted the DDH configuration. So I'm not sure why the South Koreans did that, but that's what they did. So anyway, the other ship I've got here is Asian as well. This is a Chinese Type 55 Renhai destroyer. It's a destroyer, but it's larger than an Aegis cruiser. And it's similar in function and capability as a U.S. Aegis cruiser. This is a plastic model kit, and it's not attached to the base. I just use this right now as a carrying. So this is, if you noticed, so this is a snap together kit or a pressed together kit, and it was molded in 4 colors: underwater hull, the gray, the hull gray, and then the decks pressed in there. And then you also had brass, propellers. But so I ended up painting the whole ship. And it was deceptive because I thought, this snaps together. It's really tight tolerances. Then you start noticing the very fine seams when you start putting paint in. So I had to go back and chase almost all my seams with glue, with liquid cement. It's not done. I've got railings to put on it. The ship is very detailed out of the box. There's one Chinese manufacturer that's on YouTube that is adding details, 3D printing details. And one of the areas is, if you look at the top of what I would call the flying bridge, but this does not have a flying bridge, you see a lot of antenna detail. That's all 3D printed. And the other place are the life rafts in the back. And they were far superior than the kit life rafts. The rest of the kit is basically as molded, except for I went back then and started adding adding ladders out of photo etch and adding whip antennas. I saw them, and then details on the mast itself. Oops, let me see if I can. Yeah, so see if I can get low angle on that. Anyway, and then life rings and some other photo etch details. The one thing that they don't give you in all of this, they give you a really nice flight deck marking back here. They give you actually 2 of them, because the lead ship of the class is the 101, and they give you a flight deck marking for the 101. But the other rest of the class, you have to build up the numbers for both the bow number and the flight deck number. but they don't give you markings throughout the rest of the deck. So there should be train warning circles and things like that. Anyway, a very nice model. There's another company that makes a model as well, but it is not nearly as detailed as this one, even though this is snapped together and the other one's a traditional glue together. So I should have it finished by the next meeting. I've got to put the railings on, flat coat it. I still got propellers to put on, and I got to mount it. So, the Type 55 Renhai destroyer, and I'll tell you what, if you want to get envious or you just want to get embarrassed, you just go on the Chinese websites and see the state of their Navy, because they're just pushing them out. Oh, and this is the Dalian, which was the shipyard in the south of China that's pushing these out, as well as another yard.
What was your source of the add-on 3D printed part?
So I went on YouTube. Not YouTube, eBay. I went on eBay. And there was one company on eBay that was not only selling this, but you could also put a lot of other details in there.
3D wild.
It may have been. I don't remember, to be honest. I didn't bring the resource with me, but that was, and the other challenge is finding good detailed photographs of the ship to model it. Fortunately, the Chinese are so excited by this, and their press is free enough that there's a lot of photos. But if you want anything underwater hull, forget it. You're not going to find it. So one question I have, it comes with a set of screws. The propellers, I took them off the sprue to paint them, and then I couldn't remember which way they turn. And so typically that most ships, they turn outboard. So that's the way I'm going to, and I used AI to ask that question. And basically I got an opinion that said mostly they turn outboard, which is correct. I think the Arleigh Burke is the one that's in reverse and it turns inboard instead of outboard. But
Are these gas turbine propulsion?
this is gas turbine. I don't know anything about the propulsion system. And the other problem is I tell you more about the weapon systems and everything else. Other than this is a 130 millimeter gun forward. That's a copy of a Goalkeeper. That's a copy of a U.S. Ram back here. VLS is a copy of American VLS systems, but they've got a ton of missiles that they can shoot out of these things. So they're going to be a real challenge if there's any kind of showdown in this Pacific.
Well, that's good to know.
Since Ryland name dropped New London, Connecticut, I should tell you that having been born there, there's a unique sandwich called a grinder. And I finally did the genealogy of where the term grinder comes from. Because it's in Connecticut, and it's New London, Connecticut, on the home of the grind.
I thought it was a Rhode Island name. That's
No,
interesting.
There's hoagies in the original. It was an Italian American invented the grinder in New London, Connecticut, to serve the shipyard workers at the sub base. That's what I and Google Net.
All finished. My model of the monitor is officially done. I had just finished gluing the funnels and the smoke boxes and did some hole plating with the what would you call it, John? Is it like a compass? Scribing? Circling compass thing? Or
I don't know what you use.
first I was thinking about using like a rolling pizza cutter. But I just call it like a compass. So, and I had also finished painting the machinery. More though. So I might do the canopy for the turret, but I don't know if I should or not. I noticed that I didn't get the tracks or whatever they're called on the or the vents that are on the turret. And I forgot to add the flags that are usually on, but I don't really care. Oh yeah,
I don't see the. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the propeller itself, along with the rudder, also turns as well. Well, the model itself
In
is
20
done.
years, are you gonna take and make it RC?
No. I'm just gonna make it as a static model. Even though the model itself on the inside is hollow, everything else is a sealed shut. So I'm probably not gonna even build an RC model ever.
You did a good job on that.
You could easily the top of the turret, the traditional modeling has shows the rails, but in fact, it was perf plate on top, as we've discovered. So you could actually add, perf plate top on that. Retrofit it would be easy.
Progress on the PT boat. I had finished the deck house along with the console. I just need to sand down the bottom. One suggestion I was thinking about doing was just putting a gluing sheet of sandpaper on the deck and just rubbing it lightly so it best fits. So thank you to John for that suggestion. And then just a matter of gluing. Hopefully my next task is to work on I suppose you could say the torpedo tubes. Other than that, all I got to show.
And John will be at home all summer.
Or will he?
Do you need his phone number?
I have his email.
Just trying to.
Bill, were you gonna show something?
I got one thing to say about Kalen. I have seen the new edition of Ships and Scale magazine.
Oh yes.
And I was gonna bring you a copy. I had the online edition. And they did a 3-page story on you, and it was excellent.
Yeah, that was the other thing because months ago, Mike Ellison had actually done an interview with me about me and how I mentioned this in the logbook for the last in my column for the last logbook. Yeah, he just like asked me how I got my life into strip logging.
Right. And it was a good picture of you with your mentors too. So, yeah.
And I had just sent him an email for photos of models. He's never gotten to me back, so I'm not sure. I mean, it's for the reader showcase. He sent me some photos of it.
I will make a copy of it for you.
All right, thank you.
I meant to bring it this time, but I go on. All right.
Hey, Greg.
There's a this there.
Is it the blue one?
Green one.
Just so online people know, we're gonna go Gene, John, and then we're gonna go to anyone online who wants to show something.
Up. The pictures are better than just showing the camera.
We'd rather see the pictures of you.
Yes.
No.
What the pictures of?
Yeah.
The hatch looks great.
Okay,
Okay, while he's getting the pictures up, I'll just a quick little tour.
Well, you're not gonna see that.
All righty, where we left off last month.
I'm not sharing.
Oh, you're not sharing it?
Not just yet.
Okay. All righty. We're good.
Well, not sharing the picture.
This is the problem I ran into. You go back to, were you able to see this presence? He's got it up, okay.
You share the entire screen, see whatever's on.
Yeah.
Right, so just change what's on the screen. Yeah, you got it.
No, it wasn't. They're my files.
Yeah, that's right there.
Yeah, right.
Click on the files.
Right. Guys, this thing was on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, no.
Still seeing the live.
Go back to the files. There you go. We're seeing it.
Now it's showing.
All right, this is where I left off last month with the hull pretty much finished and primed and just getting the superstructure to fit. The next step in you just go next. All right, the next step was to install the props and shafts. Here are the drawings I had from the plans of the ship, so it gives a very good idea of what needs to be done as far as size, position, positions. Yeah. Also, as part of the research, I found a couple of nice pictures of the class of boat showing the prop, and I use these primarily to get the not dimensions, but the plan form of the blades and all that stuff. Make my props, and the way I usually did it is how I've done it in the past. Just make a mold, turn the hub, make one representative blade of each screw, make a mold, and then cast it. Also, I cast the struts and bosses in metal, also resin, along with some other fittings that we added to it. And then from there, it's a matter of just assembling the screws and the bosses, struts to be mounted on the hull. I used the same station frames used to repair the hull, to also use as a jig to hold the screw, the prop shafts, to mount the struts and all of that stuff. It makes a nice template for doing that. Bit of an overkill, but at least I got it straight. And it's just a matter of gluing them in position. I used epoxy for this process so that I have time to adjust them, get them all clamped up, and then just set aside. And once it's cured, I mean, it's indestructible. It's also a messy job. At this point, you know, the hull needs to be. Huh?
I see a trail.
Oh, I know. Working with epoxy was not. I mean, you get it all over your fingers, you touching stuff, you're picking stuff. But anyways, it
Just like
it seems to work. Next phase, once I had that done, was to plate the model. The ship was all welded, and so with the expanded plating diagram, I was able to go and draw all of the plates onto the hull. Here I am laying out the scheme. Yeah, question?
Are they butt welded or overlap welded?
All butt welded. Otherwise, I would have had to do another.
And how, Gene, I'm having trouble hearing you. How did you draw those on?
Okay, using the schematic that I have under there, I drew the pencil onto the hull, and it was a simple matter of following the diagram. Because what I used to then simulate the plating or the welding was the Archer decals. If you've never used this product, Archer has a hull line of detailed products, weld lines, rivets, lots of things. For a short while, they had kind of gone underground, but then resurfaced with a new owner. And the weld beads come in a variety of scales, sizes, and so forth. You just have to pick one that's appropriate. And it's a simple, it's just a water slide decals. And from there, it's a matter of then applying it onto the hull. And once dried, then I sealed them all up with a little clear lacquer or something like that, so that when I go ahead and paint them over with another coat of what?
You can see where you cleaned up all that glue stuff with the struts up in the last.
Oh yeah, no, that's the name of the game. It's sand, prime, sand, prime, sand, prime. Clean up your mess, huh?
What was your source of weld line?
The source were Archer decals. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're in business.
No, they had gone out of business, but then a new buyer came and picked up the line, and they are now available again. Yeah.
They also have nice rivets.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you can also get rivets from Micromark. They have big sheets
But
of
it's
rivets.
HO.
Yeah.
1 through 5. Right. Yeah.
So this gives a nice photo of what the beads look like. I mean, they're nice and subtle, and once you get them all painted up, it makes for a nice rendering. Here's the cleaned up hull.
And it looks so shiny.
Yes, yes. Prime, lots of prime, lots of sanding, lots of prime.
Like oil on it to make it look.
Oh yes, I buffed it. Anything like that. All right, the next phase was to paint the deck blue. Then I had the masket, so I could paint the rest of the ship. A kind of a ghost gray was the color that I selected. It was the closest picture I could see from the movie. And there's the inside of the bulwarks, the detailing, all painting, all had to be done before the superstructure was installed. Because once that was installed, I would not have access to it anymore.
Your autograph, like we usually do.
Upside down.
Yeah, well, I told you I did that. You know?
It's a stupid thing that we do, just like on my one.
Yep, never to be seen again. All right, there's a nice little picture of details looking down the walkway, showing some of the details on the top and the hatchways. Anyways, more welding, painting, sanding, filling, and combing. And the next phase was to then go ahead and paint the
What did you do? Scuppers, did you cast those?
which ones?
Scuppers.
These? Yeah, those are
Right next to it.
Below it.
yeah. Those are photo etched. Yeah, the ring around which let me see if you can zoom in. Yeah, this part is photo etched, and so is this, and then just folded and just glued on. They were just a simple, just whatever it was, just.
Looks good.
Just some more pictures. A lot of things yet to go on. Quote. The next phase was to put the boot topping on it, numbers, whole numbers, and so forth, which are also photo etched, painted, and glued on.
Eugene,
Yeah.
the mast, you have that deck house there with the mast, for the mast.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a watertight door. What's that doing? You know?
There's a little storage area in there. I don't. There's no access to below from there because it's all structure to hold the mast. Yeah, it's probably just a little utility.
Right, just a bosun wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that for the movie only or?
No. This was part of the ship. The part of the ship that was added for the movie where it's right here. You have two extensions of the bridge where there was a ladder from the top of this structure up there on either side. And then, of course, there was a ladder that went from the top of the hatch to the top of the they call the palm deck. And this hall structure here, I don't know if that was added for the movie or not, because there's a refrigerated version of this ship that did have a compartment that housed the refrigeration equipment. But I think this was added for the movie because in some of the scenes when the hatch was opened, you can see the extension of the cargo hatch that went into the superstructure. So they must have built that kind of on top of it to mimic what they saw in the refrigerated version and have a platform that they could then, stage all the shenanigans with the palm and tree and all that stuff. Alrighty. Nice picture showing the symmetry, all the numbers and weld lines.
A box of marbles in it before you sealed it up.
Wrong movie.
It was in this.
No, that was Ensign Pulver, the sequel.
Oh.
Yeah. Now the numbers for the stern, you notice on the bow, it's nearly vertical. So all the numbers are the same height. As the curvature of the stern area progresses, the numbers have to be amended and stretched so that when viewed from side perspective, they all appear to be the same height and are square. But viewed from the side, you can obviously see that one number, sixes, obviously are much longer. You just have to make an adjustment for the angle of the, what do you call it?
The expanded view.
Yeah, the expanded view.
That's also true with warships with armor plate that rolls under the stern. It's sometimes twice as high on the side.
Yeah.
But it's the same vertical height from the water's perspective.
And here's a nice picture with the screws, and you can see the numbers in their relative shape. And also, before you say you've named the boat twice, I have precedence for this. And there it is. This is the actual boat that was used in the movie, the Huel. And they did paint the name twice because of the shape of the hull, the stern. You can't view it from the sides, so they put it on twice.
Right in the middle.
Yeah. And that's basically where I am today and what's on the table. And that was now, and there's your hatch, you can see.
And Gene, this was an Army vessel.
Yeah, it was an Army refrigerated and non-refrigerated vessel.
Did the refrigerated version also segment the hatch?
No, the refrigerated version, the hatch was smaller. The non-refrigerated version, which the Huel was, had a longer hatch, which extended into that what was the housing that was added. So yeah, two different size hatches. And that's pretty much it. That's it. That's where I finished.
Sure. Okay. That's yours. Hey, Bill Gass, you still there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Shayla wanted to thank you for getting that drawing that you sent.
It's getting there.
Well, I just happened to run across it and I figured he would need it.
He said he was looking for it.
And Bill, we had welcomed you as the new associate member to the club before you got on, but welcome.
Well, I'm honored to be a member.
All right.
Slightly smaller than Gene's model, obviously. Same colors, same scale.
Wobbly man.
Well, the mass is just in there temporarily. And I don't know if this is going to show up, but there's plating on this model. Only you can see it's different because the plating on this one was riveted and it was in and out strakes. So where he had flush butts on his seams and the butts, these were lapped. So gives a little surface detail, and it was done a little different than using the decal. Now,
The vessel is this?
the vessel is a revenue cutter built in the late 20s, like 1927, 1929. The revenue cutter service built 13 of them. And from what I can have been able to find out, there's one hull left, and it's at a marina in California. And people have extended a cabin here, and it's a liveaboard. So I'm building this from a photograph that I have that I got out of the Boston Library. It's a John Leslie photograph. If you've ever get online and look up John Leslie photography, this stuff is amazing. Anyway, so I found the photograph, and there's two ships, two of these class in the picture. They're not identified. I'm building it to the nearest one because I see the most detail, but I don't know what it is. So at this point, I'm still not sure which one I'm going to name it. I may name it after the existing one in California, but I may name it after another one because there's other photographs in the John Leslie collection that show the same. It's either the same ship or the other one, but it's named Dexter. So it might end up being Dexter. I'm not sure. This model here was on the shelf in the taco stand for a while as I was working on other models. But I'm in a spot where it now came down off the shelf, and I'm continuing to work on it. So what I've done, and since the last time actually I brought it here, was I've added the bollards. There's 6 of them, and then I made the towing chock. So, and then I've also worked on flanges for the base of all the funnels and various things. And that's really the only thing I got to show you is just that little bit of machining work that went into making the bollards and things.
Will there be a deck gun?
It will have, in this spot right here, there will be a 3-inch pool gun. And the pool is a kind of an interesting looking 3-incher. And no one makes a 3D printed one in this scale, or really one period. And so that'll be something that I'll have to machine.
So a short barrel.
Short barrel.
Yeah. I think, is that the ones that, because the DDs in World War I had a 3-inch gun put on as an anti-aircraft weapon.
Yeah, but it was a different model.
Is that a different model?
Yeah. I have 2 really good photographs taken from up here, I guess, showing that gun. And they're exercising it. And so I've got good information there. Plus, there's several that exist that they've photographed a lot. Anyway, that's where I am. It's just a little bit of the going on in the shipyards.
3-inchers used on submarine.
Well, they were also a different model, I think. Yeah.
John, do you think there's a pool gun at the Virginia Museum?
There's one, I think there's one at the, over in the, this is the playground at the Portsmouth Shipyard, Naval Shipyard over, or the Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Portsmouth.
Oh,
I think there's one on the ground.
Yeah, in the old section.
You could laser scan it and
Yeah,
it's
that's what I was
launch
hoping.
and it's 3D printed.
We're gonna.
There's some guys here, they odd size.
It's showing, yes, it's showing.
Very fine.
Okay, so this is, I didn't get a lot done on the Winchelsea this past month.
did a lot of research, which I'll show at the end of the presentation. But I wanted to show the stern piece of it because just I thought it was a nice looking shot. And I did put in the window glazing in the 5 windows to the captain's cabin. So I wanted to show what it looked like from the outside. And then I did hit the stern with some dull coat just to kind of protect the resin so it wouldn't degrade over time.
What did you use for the windows?
It's just plastic, clear plastic.
What'd you use for the mullions?
The mullions is a laser cut that came with the kit.
Okay. So the acetate just glues on the backside.
It's actually free floating.
Oh, is it?
So on the inside, the sill plate for the captain's cabin holds it in place.
Okay.
Yeah, just this. The frames themselves a little bit of wood glue, but the acetate was left alone.
That's good because then you don't get foggy or anything.
Yes. Yep.
On the stern.
There's a lot of dust on there. I got to vacuum.
Yeah.
You had a question?
Yeah, on the stern were the 2 wreaths, blue interior was. They put chasers through that, or was that just all solid there?
I think they're too high for chasers.
Okay. Didn't know what the deck was.
Yeah. I haven't put the quarter deck in yet, but I still think it's probably too big for the 6-pounder. So this picture is showing underneath the lower cheeks. This isn't on a lot of models, but it is a feature of the ship. It's a wave brake to protect the cheek for when it's underway. So I sanded that down, shaped it to a knife edge on the front, thicker in the back, and then glued it into place.
Next one. How about the black structure?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Thank you. Here, the red U-shaped piece here, that's the upper breast hook. I sanded that, put it into place. Here, I've started doing the trunnels for above the whale. I had done everything below the whale. Now I'm doing above the whale. Next one. A little more close up of the trunnels. And then here you're seeing I'm starting to put the gun ports together, putting them into place, gluing them there. I will take them out, sand them, and then put the interior planks in, and then put hinges and so forth like that on. A picture of one of the cannons. I've started working on those. I have 26 12-pounders. So this is the 12-pounder. So the reason I haven't gotten a lot done on the model is I've been sitting down most nights now and doing little tiny eye hooks and rings. That's I'm test fitting what I've done. So that's taken a lot. So the next slide, next several slides is just the research I've been doing. I've stated that I'm going to rig the Winchelsea. I've only seen one example of somebody attempting to do it, and he got the lower mast done, and then he dropped off of the NRG site, so I haven't seen what he's done of recent. So I've been trying to figure out exactly how to do the mast, and if you could go back. So here I found a plan set from a company on eBay of HMS Success, which is an Amazon class frigate that was built after the Niger class. It's also a 32-gun frigate. It's a foot longer in length. It's only about 2 inches in breadth. So looking at Brian Levy's book of masting, the formula for the mast heights are really close together, so it wouldn't be too far off. So I'm going to use these plans. And the one thing I like about the plans is it shows the cutout of the mast where the mast foots are. If you do go to the next slide, these are the masts. So I now have the lengths and the sizes I need. But the one thing I like about it is if you look on the left-hand side, the 3 masts, the lower masts, the main, the fore, and then the mizzen, there's these little hyphened lines down near the bottom. That actually represents where the decks are, where the mast goes through the decks. So now, because I built a plank on bulkhead, I don't have the keel where the mast steps are. So trying to figure out exactly the height above the deck was going to be a problem, but they solved that for me because they put it in here. And the deck heights on the drawing match exactly the deck heights that are on my model. So I feel very confident that if I cut where the middle hyphens are, that will be the gun deck. And I can build up from there, measure down the hole that I did drill into the bulkhead. I can measure that depth and I'll know where my mast is, and I know everything above deck will be different.
So you won't need a scale.
No, I do not. No. It'll be a fake step.
Sean?
Yes.
Sean? I don't know if you could see. I'll try and see this. Okay, I think Ryland has a copy of this. Okay, if you want more detail on masting and rigging for these ships, you want to reference. This is an excellent reference. It has lots of detail. Okay, and you're obviously going to rig this model. This will tell you in the period where all the lines go, how they're rigged on the mast of the yard arm, where they belay to, etc., etc. It's an excellent book. It's probably not in print anymore. I'm sure you could pick one up someplace, but Ryland, I think you have one, Ryland.
I do not. What is the book? Lee's Masking. I have a copy if you need it. And I've also got some.
Yeah. This is an excellent reference.
Yeah, I do have a copy of that book, and that is one of my references. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You can go to the next one. So here's the details of the mast. The yard arms. So I have those details that I'll be able to use. Again, looking at this for the scale of the mast and the yard arms for that class of ship. Go to the next one. And then, part of the details, the kit was made to be just an Admiralty style kit. So the ship's boats, the anchors, things of that type nature aren't part of that. They'll all have to be scratch built, and these set of plans, there's like 30 sheets in it, all have the details for that class of ship. So I'll be able to use those details to do those things, and it shows how the boats were nested, what type of boats that class would carry. The next. That's it. Yeah. Okay. That's all I have. That's what I've been doing.
Who drew these plans?
I'm sorry.
Who made these plans?
I can't remember the name of the company, but it comes in a hard plastic case. They do the Success. They do the Enterprise. They've got a Spanish frigate and the sloop HMS Wolf were the plans that I saw online.
Really good.
All right, let's switch to online.
Question, Becky.
What's the name of the book again you're referring to?
The one that Tom was referring to was Lee's book.
Rigging of English Ships of War.
Yeah, masting and rigging, English ships of war, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Right. Where is it stop sharing?
I brought some photos to share.
Back to the where?
I brought some photos to share. Not leaving them, just.
All right, so online, Bill, do you have something you want to show?
Well, I finished the Fletcher class destroyer. Hold on one second.
Dude, looks nice up there.
Yeah, 1, 2.
This is my finished Fletcher.
What scale?
1/200 scale.
That's not what you're on.
Right.
I used aftermarket. All the guns are aftermarket. They're Midwest Model Shop, 3D printed. The 5-inch and the 40 millimeter and the 20 millimeter. And it's got some crew members on it. So
Could you repeat where you got the guns from?
Midwest Model Shop.
Thank you.
Was that a kit?
Yes, this was a kit. This was a trumpeter kit.
Kenny, very nice. Haven't Kenny anything to show? I don't think.
The 3D printed guns that I got are outstanding. They really he printed the turrets because the ones in the kit were not the right scale, and they are super detailed. So I made the investment to go ahead and do that and try to get it the right way. So I'm glad to get it finished.
Mike, anything to show?
Yeah, finally. Let me share, please. Oops, says the host isn't allowing sharing.
Okay.
Should I try again?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Can you see my Constitution? Okay,
Yes.
so I had modeler's block for a while on rigging the cannons. That rigging the cannons was not in the plans. And the smallest blocks I had were 4.5 millimeter, and they looked way too big. And then I bought some beautiful blocks from Model Expo. Bought 2.5 millimeter; they were too small. So $9 for the blocks and $9 for shipping. So then I had to buy 3 millimeter blocks, $9 for the blocks, $9 for shipping, and they were acceptable. The beautiful blocks are well carved, but they have a lot of char. So I left the char on. I was like, yeah, it's not that bad, but they are well cut. That's a new product for them. So I'm now pretty much done the gun deck. I spar deck beams. I think I mentioned this before. I cut them to width and then glued them up, and then shaped them with first a saw and then sandpaper. And I made 6 because I need 5, and I figured I'd cut one along wrong length. But they're only glued at the very end, and they're made over length. So when I cut them off, they're nicely shaped. So I'm on to the knees, which I'm using photographs of the Constitution and then making my knees to match. So there's how I'm making a vertical knee, which is the easy ones. The vertical and horizontal ones are easy. The diagonal ones have the curve of the hull and the angle to the deck above and the angle to the beams. So there's 3 different angles to work in. So those will be the tough ones. And I laid them out on a piece of apple wood, so I would have a grain that I wouldn't break as I was working on it. And in the right hand picture, you see the paper, and then the first one is almost the shape. That's why it's got an A on it. And then some other ones off to the right. Are you seeing the pictures off to the side? of yourself?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure how to get rid of that.
Slash from the beginning or from the current slide.
Slideshow. Current
Current
slide.
slide.
I'm still seeing pictures of you guys.
There you go.
There you go.
That? Never mind. Okay, well. So next slide is interesting story. I decided to get healthy and take a 3 mile walk every other day. And that only lasted about 2 weeks. But on one of my walks, halfway through, I found this model sitting in a pile of stuff that somebody was dumping at the curb. And so I picked it up and carried it a mile and a half home. And that's my side project now while I'm working on the Constitution. And I'm starting to put together, I got some advice from Gene yesterday on using some photo etch that I bought for it. The guy also had some 3/4 plywood at the curb, so I went back with my pickup truck to get that and knocked on his door and met him. And he took me to the Jacksonville Model Club meeting a couple of months ago, and it was mostly airplanes and tanks. Supposedly there's one other ship modeler in there, but I brought my Constitution and showed that off. So the next subject is I was one of the model forums on Facebook, and somebody was asking about transporting models, and one of the comments was about using furniture foam, and they call this FREM at the store I went to, and this block was enough to do the Constitution and the skipjack, and it was I think $2. And I just carved out a shape for the hull, and now it doesn't bounce around when I move it. I may make some side panels carved out for the rigging for longer trips. So there's the skipjack, and excuse me, that piece was $6. And it's got a place for the rudder and the bowsprit, really secure. And there's my longboat in its cradle with some space to store the oars. And the Constitution, I had to glue a couple pieces together, but actually it just survived the 8-hour drive to my parents' house perfectly fine, didn't tip over in the back seat even when it was unsupported. And actually it was a longboat that was $2 per piece of foam. So just I thought it was a really neat idea, a little bit of carving with X-Acto knife, and you take any model that shows, and they stay nice and safe. And that's what I have for today.
You're up there. You got anything to show?
A question, and maybe you guys know. Okay. I'll try and so where this came from, Ryland's probably going to talk about it. When we went to join clubs, the Constitution Model Shipcraft Guild, Eric Romberg was a member, and he is declining in health. And what he did is he gave the Constitution Club his entire workshop. So what they did is they gave each of the registrants a small bag of small shopping bag of bits and pieces from Eric's workshop. And the one I got had this in it with several different heads. And it's a glass bottle, and these heads come off, okay, and go back on. And what you have is you have this little piece here, and you have a perforated wheel, and there is a way for a liquid to drip down onto the wheel. So I'm thinking that it was something that was used to paint lines decades ago before you had tape and everything else. I got several other different diameter wheels and heads to go on this bottle. And I was wondering if any of you gents know really, the other interesting thing is you see here, you got two indentations so you could hold it like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So do any of you folks know for sure what this is?
Not
You're
for
right.
not for sure, but maybe for putting nail marks on copper plating. And depending on the scale of plating, you use a different size of perforator wheel.
The thing is, though, there's a bottle here.
Yeah, maybe to lubricate it, or I don't know.
No.
I'm brainstorming.
Don, speak on it. Speak on it.
Tom, you're right on the money.
All right. Oh, really?
Yeah, they used to sell that. You put paint in it. You can
Okay.
put different heads. There's one, looks like you've got one wheel on the end of that one.
Yeah.
For parallel wheels, and it was for making like pinstripe lines. And sometimes the wheel might have a design in it. I remember they sold that about 40 years ago.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to experiment with some scrap wood and acrylic paint, and I'll let you know how it goes. But thanks, guys.
That's good.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Kevin, anything to show?
No, I'm on holiday. Most of you should have seen my 1 minute short. If not, I could try and show it if you want.
In the interest of time, maybe because we haven't even gotten to our regular presentation yet, maybe next month.
Yeah, it's just 1 minute. So
Okay. 1 minute. All right, go for it.
yeah, we could try it. I'm not 100% sure it'll work, but
Yeah.
oh, 1 minute. Where are you? No, it's not gonna let me do it.
Okay. All right. We'll get better set up for it next month.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other online people? Alrighty, Kevin, and then me, and then we are through an amazing show and tell.
I actually have a few.
Oh, okay.
Show as well.
All right. Well, you can go after Kevin.
No, you go ahead.
I'll make mine very brief. We have this camera up. Let's see. This.
Let's people what they want to do.
Okay. On my Fridays at the Mondays and Fridays at the museum here, I've been working on the HMS Bounty launch kit from Model Shipways. I have the planking all done on it, and I've actually done the painted the shear strake on it blue. I'm using a slightly different paint scheme than what's on the box. The box shows the upper hull being gray and then below the waterline being white. And I found this color scheme on the Anatomy of the Ship series book on the HMS Bounty, and I kind of like this better than the paint scheme that's on the box. So still slowly coming together. Once I paint the below the waterline, I can go ahead and pull it off and start working on the interior of it. And that's all I've got.
Hey, you look, Kevin, that's good looking blanket.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really tight. Paid it off.
Great.
Very good.
I need the restroom, so I'll make this quick too.
Yeah. Let's do this because I do want to get to Ryland's presentation too, and rather than taking a break in between, if anyone needs to do anything biologic, if they just want to step out.
All right, so I'm going back to my trip with Gene to Denmark now almost a year ago, picking up where we left off. The night before, we were hosted by a former coworker for dinner. And later this afternoon, we were hosted for lunch with another group of 4 or 5 coworkers. In between, we went to the National Train Museum in Odense, which also has a huge section dedicated to train ferries. So my next project I intend to do is a train ferry, and I wanted to revisit this place while we were there. So they had, along with the models, a lot of artifacts. So this is the bell off of the same ship. I don't know if this is the engine monitor for the same ship or just a representative one. But in the interest of time, I'll go through these relatively fast, give you an idea of what the museum's like. The nice cutaway drawing of this one shows the engines and
Very difficult to make.
Yeah, so 3 rail cars and a collection of vehicles on the deck. This is a painting of the subject that I intend to model next. So that was interesting to see. Side wheeler. You can see the rails. They don't have any rail cars on the mall, but you can see the rails down the center.
Beautiful.
This is a royal car carriage for maybe the 50s or so. Not as fancy as what you might see for England's royalty, but a huge step up from Amtrak. There was definitely a theme. There was a lot of beer involved. There's Gene looking out as the landscape slowly goes by, trying to figure out which lever does what.
You do not shave it. Fit right in, Gene.
Yeah. So now we're not looking at boats anymore. We're looking at locomotives, but
whistles on steam locomotives are like the best sound I've ever heard.
The double-decker carriage and the very Spartan third class upper deck. A little bit different than the royal car as well. I'm not sure if this is a royal car from a different era or like a first class cabin, but pretty fancy. Back to the back to the ferries again.
Just the one that you plan on building.
It's similar. The one I'm planning to build is a bit larger. It has more of a superstructure, more cabins for the passengers than what's shown here. A bit bigger than this one. And it's the overall nice museum. We never seen dirtier cases in life. I mean, they were filthy. Not every last one, obviously, but there's some models I didn't even bother to try and take a picture of. I need to do some work there. This was a well done one.
Looks nice.
So up on the mezzanine, they had a whole series of cases along the length of the building. A lot of models. I had to go through fairly quick. We're running out of time at this point, but you can see the era up here at the top, 30s to 49, 60 to 69. Nice museum. And 2005. And then here's the mezzanine where all the models I was just showing were along here. This is the first picture you get a sense that this is in the old roundhouse. All the locomotives would be stored in this wheel fashion. Just turned it into a museum.
I think that the car in front of that locomotive is a snowplow.
It is, yeah. Which is weird because they don't get that much snow in Denmark. Enough, I guess they need to plow.
Is the turntable still outside the roundhouse?
That I don't know. Didn't see it. I didn't go out that door. So the ferry breweries operated very locally then. So this is the brewery that's right in Odense. And I drank a lot of this while I was there, so I'm tempted to put it on the model, but that would be a bit inaccurate. So did you? It'd be a bit inaccurate to put it on the model because these cars wouldn't have ever made it that far, but I might do it anyway for allow myself a little creative license.
Do an older car.
And as Gene will attest, I took a lot of pictures of these, the details, like, you know, so I can do some Gene style photo etching and put little details like this in there.
Who's gonna call you on it?
Yeah.
You know?
So it might be more accurate to put a two-bore car on there. Then
What the art actually turbo?
we did a quick drive-by of the house that I stayed in while I was there. So that's Christian Scotto 117. And then this is Cartagena, the small town where I stayed for the first month. Dead in the winter and more of a tourist town.
Well, the roots are pretty sharply pitched, like they do get a lot of snow.
Yeah, maybe climate change. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
We had one big snowfall the winter I was there. Otherwise, it's a lot like this area where it snows 2 or 3 inches and melts. Snows 2 or 3 inches and melts. Cartagena Fjord. Excellent restaurant. And Mary and I had an anniversary dinner at. And then we'll end with a boat, a more modern one other coastal patrol craft. That's it. So I'll pick it up at I think Gene's favorite museum next time I show it.
And last, progress on the whaleboat. Since last time, the ceiling planks are all done. The bow and stern sheet platforms are in place. The rubbing strakes are on the sides, and the gunwales and endwales are done. Charles had said that he had not used any trees in his. Well, I made up for it. These cheek pieces, these little pieces at the front, took a weekend, and I think I deforested the holly forests of the world, and ruined pieces getting there, but they're finally done. But that's it.
Nice. Like the dagger board.
Thank you.
Oh, is that spring loaded?
No, it's just gravity, and I'm not to figure out what to do. I don't want to knock it that high over the building. That is. Thank you, everyone, for bringing your show and tells. It was great to have this many different things to show today, and we're going to segue into Ryland's presentation.
That would take a little break.